My son's wife called. We changed the locks, you do live here anymore, but then. The phone rang at 6:14 a.m. That thin metallic sound always feels cruel before sunrise, too sharp, too deliberate, as if it knows your defenses are still asleep. I was halfway through my morning prayer, my lips barely moving, my hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea, steam curled upward like a quiet blessing. I answered. Her voice didn't tremble. It didn't soften. It didn't hesitate. We changed the locks, my son's wife said. You don't live here anymore. For a moment the world tilted. I wondered if I'd misheard her, like when the wind slips a word into your ear that wasn't meant for you. I opened my mouth to ask what she meant, to laugh it off as some strange misunderstanding. But she continued, calm and final. Please don't come back, it's better this way. The line went dead. I sat there staring at the wall across from me, at the faint pencil marks recording my son's height year after year. Some were crooked, some barely visible, but all of them were stubborn, refusing to disappear. The clock ticked. The tea cooled. And somewhere deep inside my chest, something old, something I had spent decades stitching together with patience and silence, finally tore. I had lived in that house for 37 years. I remembered the day we bought it. My husband, Karim, held the keys like they were made of gold, his hands trembling with pride. We were young then, hopeful, exhausted, and painfully aware that everything we owned had been earned inch by inch. I painted the walls myself, even while pregnant. My back ached, my feet swelled, but I refused help. I wanted my child to grow up knowing his home was built with effort, not comfort, with love, not ease. When Karim died suddenly of a heart attack 12 years ago, the house became my anchor. Every corner echoed with his presence, his laughter drifting from the living room, his gentle scolding from the hallway, his quiet evening prayers whispered into the walls. And my son, my only child, became my reason to keep waking up. I raised him alone. I paid his tuition by stitching clothes late into the night, needle biting into tired fingers. I skipped meals so he wouldn't notice how tight money was. I told myself this was what motherhood meant, loving without counting, giving without keeping score. When he married Sana, I welcomed her with open arms and a hopeful heart. I gave them the master bedroom and moved into the smaller one without a word. I learned what she liked to eat, how she preferred her tea, what irritated her. I swallowed my discomfort when she rearranged my kitchen, corrected my manners, and spoke over me in my own home. I told myself this is temporary, this is love. The first time I felt invisible was 3 months after the wedding. At dinner, Sana placed the plates down and smiled brightly at my son. You should eat more protein, she said warmly. You're working so hard. Then she glanced at me. Ami, maybe you should eat lighter at your age. Her tone was polite, gentle even. But it landed like a verdict. I smiled, nodded, and quietly pushed half my food aside. The second time was when she hosted guests and introduced me as his mother who lives with us. Not the owner. Not the woman who built this home. Just someone who happened to occupy space. The third time was when she suggested, casually, that I spend more time at my sister's house. You know, she said, stirring her tea, young couples need privacy. I laughed it off. I always did. Because mothers are trained to disappear quietly. After the phone call, I packed one small suitcase. I didn't cry while folding my clothes. I didn't cry while closing my bedroom door for the last time. I didn't cry even when I stood outside the house, staring at the new silver lock on the gate, shiny, unfamiliar, cruel. I cried on the bus. The driver didn't notice. No one did. Grief like mine has learned how to sit still. My sister took me in without questions, but I saw the worry in her eyes. Talk to your son, she urged gently. This must be a misunderstanding. I called him that night. It rang until voicemail. I texted. No reply. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly something inside me began to change, not into anger but into clarity. One afternoon, while sorting through old papers to distract myself, I found the file. The house documents. Karim's careful handwriting stared back at me, steady, deliberate, protective. The house wasn't in my son's name. It never had been. After Karim's death, everyone assumed the house would go to our son, but Karim had known the world too well. Years earlier, quietly and legally, he had transferred ownership to me. "You never know how people change," he had said once. I had laughed then. I wasn't laughing now. I read every page slowly. The truth settled into me like a calm, heavy stone. I wasn't homeless. I had been pushed out of my own house. I didn't rush. I didn't shout. I didn't confront. Instead, I visited a lawyer. He was young, respectful, and thorough. He confirmed what I already knew: the house was mine, completely, undeniably. "What do you want to do?" he asked. I thought of my son's silence, of Sana's cold certainty, of the lock that had replaced my key. "I want my home back," I said, "and I want it done properly." The day I returned, I didn't go alone. The locksmith arrived first, then the lawyer, then me, standing on the familiar porch, my heart steady, my hands calm. Sana opened the door mid-sentence, phone pressed to her ear. Her face drained of color when she saw me. "What is this?" she snapped, hanging up. "This," I said softly, "is my house." She laughed, sharp and brittle. "You left, you don't live here anymore." The lawyer stepped forward and handed her the documents. She read them once, then again. Her hands began to shake. My son appeared from the bedroom, confusion turning to panic as he took the papers from her. "Ami," he whispered. I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in months. "I didn't leave," I said quietly. "I was thrown out." Silence swallowed the room. The locksmith cleared his throat. "Madam, should I proceed?" "Yes," I said. The sound of the lock changing was soft, but final. "I didn't throw them out that day. I'm not heartless. I gave them 30 days. 30 days to find a place. 30 days to understand what respect costs when it's ignored." My son cried that night. He apologized, said he didn't know, said he was trapped between loyalty and marriage. I listened. But listening does not mean surrender. "I raised you to stand up for what's right," I told him, "even when it's uncomfortable." Sana avoided me entirely. When they left a month later, the house felt lighter, as if it could finally breathe again. I cleaned every room, opened every window, let the air move freely. I repainted the walls. I returned to the master bedroom. And for the first time in years, I slept deeply. Months later, my son visits alone sometimes. We speak carefully, honestly. Healing is slow but possible. Sana doesn't come. And that's okay. Because here's the truth no one teaches mothers soon enough. Love does not require erasing yourself. Sacrifice should never be mistaken for permission. And kindness does not mean weakness. They changed the locks and told me I didn't live there anymore. But then I remembered who I was. And I came home. The moral: love does not mean surrendering your dignity, and sacrifice should never erase your rights. Silence in the face of disrespect only teaches others how to treat you. True strength is knowing when to stand firm, calmly, legally, and with self-respect. A mother's kindness is powerful, but it should never be mistaken for weakness.